Let's burn this house down with some great comedy. Please welcome to the stage, aerospace engineer, Ryder Tam!
Hi. How's everybody doing? Okay. I can't understand you when you all talk at once, so. Does it ever bother you that MCs are always like, I can't hear you? Like, that was pretty loud. Maybe you need your ears checked. Well, let's try that one more time. How's everybody doing tonight? Okay, you're still not getting it. Do any of you guys do that in regular conversation, you know? Like, Brenda, thanks for coming to the interview. Come in, take a seat, take a seat. How you doing? Woo, yeah! Okay. I like your enthusiasm. So aerospace, right? I don't know how to start presentations, so that's what that was. Actually, I want to give a quick shout out to education professionals, because none of us up here tonight... All right, hold on, one sec. Let me finish the sentence. None of us up here tonight would be doing what we do if it weren't for teachers. So if we could give it up for teachers. I had a teacher once when I was younger who... That wasn't a joke. That wasn't a joke. I can just do setups if you want. You know? So I like to watch Netflix. I had a teacher once when I was younger who walked out on class one day. He slammed his hand down on a desk. He said, I've had enough of this, and he stormed out, and I never saw him again. Some people would have been excited by that, like the rest of the day off. Not me. I was heartbroken, you know, because I was homeschooled. That was dark. I was homeschooled though, and I was. Can you tell? Homeschooling is not for everyone. It's not for everyone. And so you just have to take my word for it. If you weren't homeschooled, when I say that homeschooling is not something you can do when you're homeless. College was great for me. Has anyone ever slept through an exam?
Yeah.
All right, you and me. Just the two of us, okay. I have. The worst part of that is actually the next class, because everyone's talking about it, and you have to try to blend in so people don't think that you're a moron. So they don't find out that you're a moron. You know, like, Ryder, what you got on question 4? Oh, 8? For when the French Revolution happened? Yeah, 8, the year 8. Not the revolution itself, obviously, but the seeds. The seeds of the revolution were planted because of Babylon and where King Midas proclamation and yeah, now you can tell I'm homeschooled, right? All right, let's talk about my job. So I'm an aerospace engineer. I work in, yes, thank you. One person knows what that is. Should have come over my here. I see some coworkers, but they don't know what they're doing. I don't. No offense. I work in space operations, and so what that means that I do, I'll try not to get too technical, is I spend most of my time coming up with bad pickup lines. You know, like, hey baby, are you a rocket? Because we can go all the way. Unless I blow up on the way up. It happens. You look single. No offense. What's your name?
Sid.
Sid? Cool. What do you do?
Not much.
Not much. Okay, when did you give up? I can't work with that. Okay.
Sorry.
All right, I'm gonna help you out. Tonight, you're gonna learn about pickup lines from a homeschooled engineer, okay? That couldn't possibly go wrong, right? So I have a friend who uses pickup lines as an icebreaker. Here's one that he used. Do you wash your pants with Windex? Because I can see myself in them. Now here's how I do it. This, by the way, this is a true story. I'm at a friend's graduation party, and I see a girl that I don't know. So I think, all right, icebreaker time. So I go up to her. That also wasn't the joke. she does is she looks at me like, oh, fuck. And like, I hate that, right? I can't stand that. It's like, I'm trying to talk to you. I don't need you looking at me. So she looks at me, and I say, do you like Windex? Because I can wash your pants. True story. Somehow, I'm still single. Which I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because marriage is great, but it seems really tough. Like, actually, okay, tell you what. Go ahead and applaud for me if you're married. Alright, cool. Alright, now go ahead and applaud for me if you're single. Okay. I'm gonna point out the obvious and say, I think that second group was smaller, but way louder. People cheered in that second group. That's all I have to say about marriage. You're married, get out of here. There's a lot of tensions between the US and Chinese space programs. And when I started in aerospace, I thought that might be a concern because I'm half Chinese, which makes me half a person of interest. Okay, that's better. Okay, little disclaimer though, I don't want to offend anyone, so if I make a couple Asian jokes, just remember that I am half racist. Only half. So when I started aerospace, I started as an intern. I don't know if anyone's been an intern before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, the rest of you go to college, so what they do is they take all the interns and they put them together so that they can learn together. Pretty cool. So I looked around and I said, wow, I'm being sent to an intern camp. Don't give me that. I warned you. Okay, half racist, all right? Yeah, I had a great time though. I had a great time. Like, I don't know what my grandfather was complaining about. Alright, I'm gonna get myself in trouble. I'm not actually racist. Okay, I'm not actually racist. I mean, I celebrate Black Friday. So, cool. Too much? Too much? This is right where I expected the audience to turn on me, so we're right on track. I know, right? Well, that joke didn't have anything to do with science. That was terrible, but you laughed. Good. So now we're in this together. If you hadn't figured it out, my goal for my set is for you guys to learn the least about science, but the most about yourselves. So I'm Asian, and you know what's actually hard about being Asian? Is we look really young, right? You know, like, hi.
Hi.
How's it going? What's your name?
Good, Lydia.
Good Lydia. Okay, like Good Friday. Nice. Yeah, they named a holiday after you. That must be exciting. What do you do? What do you do?
I write podcasts.
So not nothing, huh? That's cool. Wow, podcast. That's cool. Yeah, you should be up here. How old do I look? This is not a trick question. Don't ruin the joke I'm about to do.
I'm gonna guess 25?
That's really close. Okay, good guess. I'm actually 26. People usually go way younger. I'm 26. I'm 26 years old. I've been able to buy alcohol for 5 years, but I still get ID'd going into R-rated movies. Don't laugh. That's not a joke. That happens. That happens to me. Think about that though. That means that they think that I might not be 17. Like, I have a 401k. And a house. And a fear of being audited. Like, no 16-year-old has that. I'm afraid that I might get audited by the IRS because I mismatched the depreciation on my house with the capital gains from my IRA investment portfolio. Go ask a 16-year-old what any of those words mean. But ushers will look at me as I'm worrying about the IRS and say, hey, little boy, are you trying to sneak into Deadpool without your parents? Facts. Asians are the only ones that can go to the movies and get this. Are you guys old enough to see this movie without your parents? Well, 26. Okay, come on. How about you guys? Are you guys old enough to see this movie without your parents? Oh, you're their parents. Oh, okay. So the hot topic in the space industry right now is the Space Force. They're talking about, okay, cool, yeah, military supporters here. Yeah, or Star Trek supporters, you know. Never before have they mixed. So if you didn't know, they're talking about making a new branch of the military called the Space Force. And I think, yeah, exactly. Thank you. We have someone repeating things if you can't hear in the back, so. I think there would be some challenges, though. I think there would be some challenges. Like, we'd have to change some of our phrases, you know? Like, Johnny, you're such a space cadet. Thank you for your service. Plus, think how disappointed a recruit would be when they find out that they're working with space-age technology. Because that is a poorly used term. People are always excited, right? They're like, wow, look at all this advanced space-age technology. And I'm like, so you mean 1960s technology? Yeah, welcome to the Space Force. Here's your rotary phone, your floppy disk, and your easy bake oven. And if you don't know what those things are, ask your parents, and then they'll feel old. Who's heard of the Hubble telescope? Awesome, everybody. All right, I'm not gonna talk about it then. I want to have been around when they invented binoculars, because they started with telescopes, right? And that means one day some guy was like, hope no marauding privateers pillage my ship today. You've all seen Pirates of the Caribbean. Hey, wait a minute. People have two eyes. Hey Larry, give me your telescope. Hey, this is way better. Hey, one IP. Yeah, we improved your invention. We took two. Oh. Yeah, sorry. And that's how binoculars were invented. You ever notice? Oh, thank you. I'd prefer you laugh than just say, oh, that was funny. You guys ever notice that there are some things that you can't joke about these days? Like sexual harassment? See? So, having said that, here we go. I work in an office, and a lot of offices these days are posting sexual harassment flyers, which makes it sound like they're advertising sexual harassment. Not the case. It's guidance on how not to harass people, which I think it's a shame that we've degenerated as a society to the point that we need guidance on something that should be very obvious. That's not a joke, right? Yeah, exactly. All right, we have one supporter. We'll talk later. You know, it's like, hey, I'm gonna grope this person without their consent. I assume that's how they all sound. I'm like, hey, I have an idea. Maybe you should not do that. And I just solved society. I don't understand groping though, because like that's definitely a violation, but what does the instigator gain out of that? Like, you like touching people, that's what you enjoy? That would be like if your boss calls you into his office. It's like, Ryder, thanks for coming. Come on in, take a seat. How you doing? Woo, yeah! Okay. Shouldn't have started that way. So here's the thing, we spend a lot of cutbacks, and we can't afford to give you your paycheck anymore. Now I know you have a lot of bills to pay, so what we've got here is a big bag of money, and we're gonna go ahead and let you touch it. Yeah, all right, cool. I'm waiting. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I'm hungry, I just hold a sandwich. It's very nourishing. Anyway, there we go. Took a while for you to get it. So I see one of these flyers in the bathroom, which is like, I guess if it's relevant. And you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. Do they have those in the women's bathroom? Yes. Okay, because I haven't been in the women's bathroom in quite a while. They also have those statistics though, right? Like 1 in 3 people will be assaulted in their lifetime. And I look at that and I'm like, well, I'm no mathematician, actually I am. But that would imply that 1 in 3 people will assault someone, right? Unless it's just one guy, in which case we need to catch him. So I'm reading this, I'm standing at the urinal, right? This is how I pee. Now that's something that you know. I know you want to unknow it. I'm like, well, 1 in 3 people will be assaulted. And I noticed that there's 2 other guys standing next to me. All right, you see where this is going. I think it's him. Oh, it's not? Well, that must mean... Oh God, it's me. All right, boys. Okay, so this flyer, and I'm not making this up, this is what it said. Someone who is underage, drunk, or asleep cannot give consent. Yeah. One of those jumped out at me though, asleep? Like, okay, so I'm a heavy sleeper, but I've never slept through that. Is that something you can do? Can you sleep through sleeping with someone? Like, if that happens to you in your relationship, then one of you is not trying hard enough, and the other is boring. What if you both fall asleep? It's gonna be awkward the next morning, right? Honey? Didn't we have 10 condoms? Do we? Oh. Well, that explains why I was exhausted when I woke up. That dream I had where I was hula hooping. You can tell I know a lot about sex. Falling asleep on someone, I can't imagine anything more heartbreaking than that, can you? Like, okay, you can fall asleep during a movie, right? That's something you can do. You can fall asleep during a movie. But if you have sex with someone, the last thing you want, the very last thing you want, the next morning is for them to be like, hey, last night was great, but how did it end? Thanks very much, guys. That's my segment.